The silk sheets were cold
Amara.
against her
Minho.
heated skin, but Kang Min-ho's hands were fire. "Spread it wider. Let me see all of you," he commanded, voice raw with hunger as Amara Wells trembled beneath Seoul's most feared mafia boss. This wasn't supposed to happen. She was undercover, sent to destroy him, but when he settled between her thighs, dark eyes burning with something beyond lust, she forgot every mission directive. "Minho." His name tore from her throat as he claimed her, slow and devastating, each movement deliberate worship. Her back arched, fingers clawing his shoulders as pleasure built like a storm. "Don't stop," she gasped, shame burning through her even as her body betrayed every principle. "Please don't. Never," he swore against her lips, increasing his rhythm until she shattered, screaming his name into the darkness. He followed moments later, forehead pressed to hers, breathing her name like a prayer. In that moment of complete surrender, as their bodies tangled and hearts synchronized, neither realized they'd just destroyed themselves. Because love between a mafia king and the agent sent to kill him could only end in blood, betrayal, and a devotion so consuming it would burn the entire underworld to ash. Welcome to my channel, fam. Before we continue, please hit that like button and subscribe. It truly helps us grow and create more stories like this for you. Your support means everything to this channel. 48 hours earlier, Amara had sat in a sterile office in downtown Seoul, watching her handler slide a manila folder across the desk. Agent Morrison's expression was grim, his weathered hands trembling slightly, a detail she'd remember later when everything unraveled. "Kang Min-ho," Morrison said, tapping the photograph of a devastatingly handsome Korean man in an expensive suit. 33 years old, controls 70% of Seoul's underground operations. Arms dealing, money laundering, human trafficking, untouchable by conventional law enforcement. Amara studied the image. Sharp jawline, calculating eyes, the kind of dangerous beauty that made smart women stupid. "And you want me to get close to him, seduce him, extract his financial records? We need evidence for the international tribunal." Morrison leaned forward. "But Wells, he's killed every woman who's betrayed him. No exceptions. You're walking into a lion's den." She thought of her mother's hospital bills piling up in Nairobi, the experimental treatment that could save her life. The agency's promised payment would cover everything. "I understand the risks." Morrison's smile was strange, almost sad. "I hope you do." The next evening, Amara stepped into the Lotus Gallery's exclusive charity auction wearing a dress that cost more than her monthly salary. Champagne flowed, diamonds glittered, and Seoul's elite mingled beneath crystal chandeliers. She'd memorized her cover, art dealer from London, specializing in African contemporary pieces. She felt him before she saw him, a shift in the room's energy, conversations lowering to whispers. Kang Min-ho entered like a king, claiming his throne, flanked by 2 bodyguards who scanned the crowd with predatory efficiency. He wore all black, tailored suit, silk shirt, expensive watch that probably cost more than a luxury car. Their eyes met across the gallery. Time stopped, his gaze locked onto her with terrifying intensity, dark eyes consuming every detail. A slow smile curved his lips, not friendly, but interested, predatory. He dismissed his guards with a subtle gesture and moved toward her through the crowd, which parted automatically. Amara's training kicked in. Confident posture, mysterious smile, eye contact that promised intrigue. Her heart hammered against her ribs as he approached. "You're new," he said in perfect English, his voice like velvet over steel. "And you're lying about being an art dealer." Her breath caught. "Excuse me?" He stepped closer, invading her, space deliberately. "Your shoes, comfortable flats, not heels. Your nails, short, practical. You've scanned the exits 3 times since I entered. You're either law enforcement or intelligence." His smile widened, and I find that absolutely fascinating. Later that night, she found herself pressed against the wall in a darkened hallway, Minho's body caging hers. His breath was warm against her ear as his hand traced her jawline with surprising gentleness. "Tell me why you're really here," he murmured. "I'll know if you lie." "I'm not," she started. Amara Wells, 27, former military intelligence, now working for an international task force targeting organized crime. He pulled back to meet her eyes. "Morrison sent you. And honestly, I'm impressed he thought you could fool me." Terror should have frozen her. Instead, inexplicable heat pooled low in her stomach. "If you know who I am, why haven't you killed me?" His laugh was dark, seductive. "Because watching you try to seduce me is the most entertaining thing I've experienced in years." His thumb brushed her lower lip. "And because I want to see how far you'll go before you realize you're in over your head." Then he kissed her. She should have resisted, should have maintained professional distance. Instead, her hands fisted in his jacket, pulling him closer as his mouth claimed hers with devastating skill. The kiss was possession, challenge, and promise all at once. When he pulled back, they were both breathing hard. "Come home with me," he commanded softly. For interrogation, she should have refused, should have called for extraction. Instead, she heard herself whisper, "Yes." His penthouse occupied the entire top floor of Seoul's most exclusive building. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the glittering city. Modern art decorated the walls, and everything screamed wealth and power. Minho poured 2 glasses of whiskey, handed her one. "You're not afraid. Should I be?" "Absolutely." He circled her slowly, predatory, and graceful. "You're alone with a man who's killed for less than deception. Yet your hands aren't shaking." "Maybe I'm braver than Morrison thought." She sipped the whiskey, let the burn steady her nerves. "Or maybe I know you won't kill me. Not yet." "Why not?" "Because you're curious." She set down the glass, met his gaze directly. "You want to know what I taste like." The air between them ignited. He moved fast, backing her against the window with his body, one hand tangling in her hair while the other gripped her hip. "Careful, Amara. I don't do gentle." "Good," she breathed. "Neither do I." Their second kiss was volcanic. His mouth dominated hers while his hands explored, mapping every curve with possessive intensity. She gasped when he lifted her, legs wrapping around his waist instinctively. The city lights glittered behind them as he carried her toward the bedroom. The silk sheets were cold when he laid her down, but his body was fire as he covered hers. "Last chance to run," he murmured against her throat, teeth grazing her pulse point. "I'm not running." "Then spread it wider," he commanded, voice rough with need as he settled between her thighs. "Let me see all of you." She obeyed, trembling as his dark eyes consumed her completely. When he finally claimed her, slow and devastating, her back arched off the bed. "Min-ho!" His name tore from her throat as pleasure built with each deliberate movement. He was worship and possession combined, his hands everywhere, his mouth branding her skin with kisses that felt like ownership. "Don't stop!" she gasped, fingers clawing his shoulders as the pressure built impossibly higher. "Please don't!" "Never!" he swore, his rhythm intensifying until she shattered beneath him, screaming his name into the darkness. He followed moments later, collapsing against her with her name on his lips. In the aftermath, as their breathing synchronized and his weight pressed her into the mattress, and realized with horror that she'd just lost control of everything. This wasn't supposed to feel like drowning and flying simultaneously. This wasn't supposed to feel like coming home. Morning light filtered through the windows, harsh and unforgiving. Amara tried to move and discovered cold metal around her wrist. She jerked upright, panic flooding her system, handcuffed to the bedpost. Minho sat in a chair across the room, fully dressed in fresh clothes, watching her with unreadable eyes. He'd been watching her sleep. "What the hell is this?" she demanded, yanking at the restraint. "Insurance." He stood, approaching slowly. "Did you really think I'd let you leave? You came here to destroy me, Amara. That doesn't end with morning after awkwardness and a cab ride home. You said you found it entertaining. I do. Which is why you're staying until I decide your fate." He sat on the edge of the bed, traced a finger down her bare shoulder. "The question is, how long can you maintain your lies before you break?" She tried seduction, softening her expression, letting the sheet slip lower. "Minho, last night was—" He laughed, genuine amusement in his eyes. "Transparent. I'm immune to manipulation, darling. I wrote the playbook." He stood, headed for the door. "My assistant will bring you clothes. Make yourself comfortable. You're going to be here a while. You can't keep me prisoner." He paused at the threshold, looked back with a smile that made her stomach flip. "Watch me." An hour later, a stern-looking woman in her 50s entered with designer shopping bags. She unlocked the handcuffs without comment, laid out clothes on the bed, jeans, blouses, lingerie, all in Amara's exact size. The realization hit like ice water. "How long has he been watching me?" The assistant's expression softened slightly. "Mr. Kang has been interested in you for some time, Ms. Wells, since before your agency assigned you this mission." She headed for the door. "Breakfast is ready, downstairs. I suggest you eat." He doesn't tolerate defiance well on an empty stomach. Amara, dressed in a fury, chose the most conservative outfit available and stormed downstairs. The penthouse's lower level held a massive kitchen where Minho sat at the island, reading a tablet while eating japchae. "You had my measurements already," she accused. "You've been spying on me. I've been protecting my interests." He gestured to the seat across from him. "Sit. Eat. I want to leave." "No. You can't. I can." He set down the tablet, fixed her with that intense stare. "You came here to infiltrate my organization, Amara. You surrendered your body to me last night. Did you think there wouldn't be consequences?" Fury and shame warred in her chest. "I made a mistake." "No," he said softly, dangerously. "You made a choice, and now you'll live with it." He pulled out his phone, showed her a photo that made her blood run cold. Her mother, in a hospital bed in Nairobi, monitors beeping, looking frail and small. "How dare you?" "I dare everything." His voice was steel. "Here's your new reality. You stay with me for 1 week. You cooperate. You don't try to contact Morrison or your agency. In exchange, I'll pay every medical bill your mother has. The experimental treatment she needs, fully funded." Amara's hands shook with rage. "You're blackmailing me." "I'm offering you a deal." He stood, moved around the island until he was close enough to touch. 1 week, Amara. Then we'll reassess." She wanted to refuse, wanted to spit in his face, but her mother's face haunted her, the knowledge that this treatment could save her life. "Fine, 1 week." His smile was victorious. "Seal it properly." Before she could ask what he meant, he kissed her, hard, claiming, a reminder of last night's passion. And damn her traitorous body, she kissed him back, hating herself for the heat that sparked between them. When he pulled away, his eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "Good girl. Now, eat. We have a busy day." That evening, Minho took her to an underground fight club in Gangnam's seedy underbelly. The warehouse reeked of sweat, blood, and money. Men in expensive suits placed bets, while fighters brutalized each other in a cage at the center. "This is disgusting," Amara said, staying close to Minho as rough-looking men eyed her with interest. "This is reality." He guided her to the VIP section, his hand possessive on her lower back. "Welcome to my world, darling." She scanned the crowd, cataloguing faces for her eventual report. Then she saw him, Agent Morrison, in the VIP section, shaking hands with a known arms dealer. Her world tilted. Morrison's eyes met hers across the warehouse. Panic flashed across his face before he schooled his expression to professional neutrality. He approached their section, nodded respectfully at Minho. "Kang, didn't expect to see you tonight." "Morrison," Minho's smile was knowing. "Still playing both sides, I see." "I don't know what you're talking about." Amara's mind raced. "You two know each other!" Morrison shot her a warning look. "Amara, get out of here. Now." "She's exactly where she belongs," Minho said smoothly, pulling her against his side. "Under on my protection, since you sent her into a situation you knew she couldn't handle." "That's not," Morrison started. "Don't insult my intelligence." Minho's voice dropped to lethal calm. "You've been my informant inside the agency for 3 years. Every mission you've assigned against me, I knew about it before the briefings even happened." The ground disappeared beneath Amara's feet. "What?" Morrison's face crumbled. "It's not what you think. It's exactly what she thinks." Minho's arm tightened around her waist as she tried to pull away. "Your entire mission was a setup, Amara. Morrison fed you to me deliberately." "Why?" The word came out broken. Morrison looked at her with genuine regret. "Because I owed him. And because I knew if anyone could survive close proximity to Kang Minho, it would be you." Before Amara could respond, before she could process the betrayal, Minho was pulling her toward the exit. "We're done here." She followed in a daze, mind spinning. Everything she'd believed was a lie. Her mission, her handler, her purpose, all of it contaminated by corruption. Back at the penthouse, she rounded on him in the elevator. "You manipulated everything." "Yes," no apology in his voice. "Morrison works for you, has for years. My entire mission was designed to bring you to me." The elevator doors opened into his private floor. "I saw your file 3 months ago, Amara. Your photo, your credentials, your psychological profile. I wanted you, so I made sure Morrison would send you." She slapped him, hard. The crack echoed in the marble foyer. He took it without flinching, a dark smile curving his lips. "Feel better? You're a monster. I never claimed otherwise." He stepped closer, backing her against the elevator wall. "But you came to my bed anyway. You screamed my name while I made you come. So what does that make you?" She kissed him, furious, desperate, hating him and wanting him in equal measure. Their mouths crashed together with teeth and hunger, hands tearing at clothes with violent need. "I hate you," she gasped between kisses. "I know." He lifted her, her legs wrapping around his waist. "Hate me while I make you forget everything but my name." They didn't make it to the bedroom. He took her against the wall in the hallway, both of them still half-dressed, the intensity brutal and raw. She bit his shoulder hard enough to leave marks, and he groaned his approval against her throat. "That's it," he encouraged as she moved against him frantically. "Take what you need." When she shattered, it was with his name and a sob of confused pleasure. He followed moments later, forehead pressed to hers, breathing hard. In the aftermath, still joined, still trembling, he said quietly, "I'm keeping you, Amara. Accept it now and save us both the fight." His phone rang at 3 in the morning, shattering the fragile piece of tangled limbs and shared warmth. Minho answered with a curt word in Korean, then went rigid. His expression transformed into something terrifying. Amara sat up, clutching the sheet. "What's wrong?" He ended the call, was already moving, pulling on clothes with military precision. "Get dressed, now. Tell me, your mother." His voice was flat, controlled fury. "Someone took her from the hospital in Nairobi 2 hours ago." Ice flooded her veins. "What?" "Choi Tae-yoon, my rival. He's using her to force my hand." Minho tossed her clothes, was already strapping on weapons she hadn't known he kept in the bedroom. "We leave for Kenya in 20 minutes. I'm coming with you." Not negotiable. You'll stay here where... She pulled a gun from his nightstand, checked the magazine with practiced ease, chambered around. I said I'm coming, try to stop me, and I'll shoot you. For the first time since they'd met, she saw genuine respect in his eyes. You know how to use that. Military intelligence, remember? She met his gaze steadily. That's my mother, Minho. I'm coming, or I swear to God I'll put a bullet in your leg and go alone. A slow smile spread across his face. You're perfect for me. The private jet sliced through the night sky toward Nairobi. Amara paced the cabin, unable to sit still, while Minho made call after call in rapid Korean, assembling resources. When he finally set down the phone, he found her standing at the window, tears streaming silently down her face. She's all I have, Amara whispered. If something happens to her... He was behind her in an instant, arms wrapping around her from behind, chin resting on her shoulder. Nothing will happen to her. I promise you. You can't promise that. I can. His voice was absolute certainty. Taeyoon wants to hurt me by hurting you. He won't kill her. She's only valuable alive. We'll get there in time. She turned in his arms, looked up at his face. Why do you care? You got what you wanted. You have me for your weak. My mother is just collateral damage. His expression softened in a way she'd never seen. When I decided I wanted you, Amara, I made a commitment. Everything you love, I protect. Everyone who threatens you, I destroy. That includes your mother. I don't understand you. I know. He cupped her face gently. But you will. They landed in Nairobi 16 hours later. Exhausted and wired. Minho's local contacts met them, a team of 6 heavily armed men who treated him with the deference reserved for royalty. The hospital stood silent in the early morning light. Too silent. Something's wrong, Amara said, hand on her weapon. Minho was already moving, his team fanning out with tactical precision. They breached the hospital through a side entrance, cleared rooms methodically. Amara's mother's floor was empty, abandoned, no patients, no staff. In her mother's room, they found only a tablet propped on the bed displaying a paused video. Minho pressed play. Choi Tae-yoon's face filled the screen. Handsome in a cruel way, maybe 40, with eyes like dead fish. Kang Minho, by now you've realized your little pet's mother isn't here. Did you really think I'd leave her somewhere you could find her? Minho's jaw clenched. She's in Seoul, in your own penthouse, actually. I've had someone inside your organization for months. Taeyoon's smile widened. Your head of security, Kim Jae-sung, sends his regards. By the time you get back to Korea, I'll have everything I need to destroy you, starting with the women you're foolish enough to care about. The video ended. Amara felt the world tilt. Your own penthouse? Minho was already dialing, barking orders in Korean. His face was stone, but she saw the muscle ticking in his jaw, the only sign of his rage. We go back now, he said, ending the call. Tae-yoon just made a fatal mistake. What mistake? His smile was terrifying. He let me know exactly where to find him. The flight back to Seoul felt eternal. 16 hours of Minho coordinating with his sister, who Amara learned was very much alive and very much involved in his organization, while Amara tried not to fall apart. Tell me about your sister, she said, needing distraction. Kang Soo-min, 30, former intelligence operative for the ROK army. She faked her death 5 years ago to go deep undercover in international crime networks. He glanced at Amara. She's been feeding me intel on my enemies ever since. Does she know about me? She's known since I first saw your photo. A slight smile. She said I was being reckless, obsessing over a woman I'd never met. I told her to mind her business. Despite everything, Amara felt a flutter of something warm. You told your sister about me. I tell her everything. His hand found hers, squeezed. She's going to love you after she punches you for making this complicated. They landed in Seoul at dawn. Minho's penthouse glittered in the distance. looking peaceful and normal. Appearances were deceiving. His team surrounded the building while Minho and Amara entered through a service entrance he'd kept secret even from his own security. The elevators were offline, Tae-yoon's doing. They took the stairs, weapons drawn. On the penthouse level, they found Amara's mother sitting calmly at the dining table, drinking tea with a beautiful Korean woman in her 30s. Both women looked up as they burst in. "Finally," the Korean woman said in accented English. "Your response time is getting slow, Oppa." Amara stared. "What?" Minho lowered his weapon, confusion replacing his battle-ready stance. "Soo-min, what the hell is going on?" His sister stood, gestured to Amara's mother. "Mrs. Wells and I have been having a lovely conversation about how terrible you are at communicating your feelings. I staged the kidnapping to test whether Ms. Wells actually cares about you or if she's just using you." "You!" Amara's fury was incandescent. She lunged for Soo-min. Minho caught her around the waist, holding her back as she tried to claw his sister's eyes out. "Easy, Amara. Easy. She terrorized my mother. She made me think—" Tears of rage streamed down her face. Amara's mother stood, came to her daughter. "Honey, I'm fine. Miss Kang has been nothing but kind, and honestly, she's right to test you. Her brother is clearly in love with you, and she needs to know you won't destroy him." The words hung in the air. Amara stopped struggling, turned to look at Minho. "Love?" He met her eyes steadily. "Yes." Before anyone could respond, the penthouse windows exploded inward, glass shattered, armed men rappelled through the openings, and chaos erupted. This was the real attack. Soo-min's test had been the distraction. Minho shoved Amara toward her mother. "Get to the safe room, now!" But Tae-yoon's men were already inside, guns raised, forming a perimeter. A man in his 50s with silver hair entered through the shattered window. Not Tae-yoon, someone else, someone whose face made Minho go rigid with shock. "Kim Jae-sung," Minho said quietly, his head of security, the betrayer. Jae-sung smiled apologetically. "Nothing personal, sir, but Choicey pays better. And he's promised me your territory when you're dead." Multiple guns pointed at their group. Amara counted 8 hostiles, all armed with automatic weapons. Soo-min was calculating angles. Minho was assessing options. But the math was bad. Then Jae-sung made his mistake. He grabbed Amara's mother. Soo-min moved first, lightning fast, disarming the nearest guard. Minho followed, and suddenly the room was a war zone. Amara pulled her mother down behind the overturned sofa, then came up, firing. Her military training took over, controlled bursts, center mass, constant movement. She saw Soo-min take a bullet to the shoulder, protecting Amara's mother. Saw Minho snap Jae-sung's neck with his bare hands. Saw the tide turn as reinforcements, Minho's loyal guards, breached the penthouse. Within 3 minutes, every hostile was down. Jae-sung was dead. Soo-min was bleeding, but alive. Amara's mother was unharmed, looking shell-shocked, but remarkably composed. Minho crossed to Amara through the carnage, cupped her face, checked her for injuries. "You okay?" "I'm fine." She looked at his sister. "Soo-min, I'm fine too," Soo-min called out, being bandaged by one of the guards. "Just a graze. Takes more than that to kill a Kang." Amara's mother stood on shaking legs. "Well, this was certainly more exciting than my usual Sunday mornings." Despite everything, the violence, the fear, the insanity, Amara started laughing. Hysterical, exhausted laughter that turned to tears as the adrenaline crashed. Minho held her through it, his arms solid and safe. When she finally calmed, he said quietly, "We need to leave. This building's compromised. I have another safe house." The safe house turned out to be a fortified warehouse in Incheon. Industrial, sparse, but secure. Sumin had already been taken to a private doctor. Amara's mother was set up in a comfortable room with guards outside. In the industrial bathroom, Amara tried to wash the blood and glass from her hair. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Minho appeared in the doorway. "Let me!" She wanted to refuse, to maintain some semblance of independence, but she was so tired, so overwhelmed. She nodded. He guided her into the large walk-in shower, both of them still fully clothed. The hot water hit them, and he carefully washed the debris from her hair, his touch gentle despite his scarred, violent hands. "You killed a man tonight," she said quietly. "I've killed many men. No apology. Does it change how you see me?" "I don't know what I see anymore." She looked up at him. "You said you love me. In front of your sister, my mother, all those men. You said it like it was fact." "It is fact." He tilted her face up, water streaming over them both. "I've loved you since I saw your photo 3 months ago. I've been obsessed with you, dreamed about you, orchestrated an entire operation to bring you into my life. Does that terrify you?" "Yes." "Good. It should." His thumb brushed her lower lip. "Because I'm not letting you go. Ever. No matter what happens, no matter who comes for us. You're mine now, Amara. Accept it." She should have been horrified, should have recognized the toxic possessiveness. Instead, she kissed him, desperately, needing to feel alive after coming so close to death. They made love under the spray, clothes abandoned, his hands worshipping every inch of her skin. When he lifted her against the tile wall, she wrapped her legs around him and surrendered to the feeling of being completely, utterly his. "I love you," she gasped as pleasure built impossibly high. "I shouldn't, but I do." His rhythm intensified, his mouth claiming hers. "Say it again." "I love you," she cried out as she shattered. "Minho, I love you." He followed her over the edge, her name a prayer on his lips. The next morning, Amara woke in an industrial loft bedroom, Minho's arm heavy across her waist. She tried to slip out of bed quietly, but he was awake instantly, pulling her back against his chest. "Where are you going?" "Bathroom. I feel—" She paused. "Strange." He sat up, instantly alert. "Strange how?" "Dizzy. Nauseous." She made it to the bathroom just in time to be sick. Minho held her hair, rubbed her back, his expression unreadable. When she'd finished, he handed her water. "How long has this been happening?" "Just this morning. Probably stress from—" She froze, counted backward mentally. Her last period, the timing of their first night together. The nausea. Oh, God. He was already on his phone, calling his doctor. "I'm having someone come check you, now." "Minho, I can't be—" "You might be pregnant." He said it with absolute calm, but his hands shook slightly as he helped her up. "And if you are, we're going to handle it. Together." If you're loving this story so far, please take 2 seconds to like, comment, subscribe and share. It helps us reach more viewers and keeps this content coming. Thank you for being here and supporting the channel. The doctor arrived within an hour, a discreet woman in her 50s who set up equipment in the warehouse bedroom without comment. Amara sat on the bed, while Minho paced like a caged animal. "Ms. Wells," Dr. Park said gently, "the blood test confirms it. You're approximately 3 weeks pregnant." The room spun. Amara gripped the bedsheets, unable to process the words. 3 weeks, their first night together, the night that had destroyed every boundary she'd built. Minho stopped pacing, went absolutely still. Then he was on his knees in front of her, hands on her thighs, looking up at her with something terrifyingly close to reverence. "Amara? This isn't... We can't." Panic clawed at her throat. "Your world is violence and death. I can't bring a child into—" "You can." His voice was steel. "Because I'll protect both of you with everything I have. No one will touch you. No one will touch our baby." Dr. Park cleared her throat. "I'll give you privacy. Ms. Wells, I recommend rest, prenatal vitamins, and a follow-up in 2 weeks. She left quietly. The moment the door closed, Amara tried to pull away. I need to think. Think here. He wouldn't release her. Don't run from me, not now. You don't understand. Tears spilled over. I came here to destroy you. I've fallen in love with a criminal. And now I'm carrying your child. None of this was supposed to happen. But it did. He stood, pulled her into his arms. It happened because we were always meant to collide. From the moment I saw your face, I knew my life was about to change. I just didn't know how much. She buried her face against his chest, let herself cry. For her shattered mission, her complicated feelings, the terrifying future growing inside her. He held her through it all, steady and unshakable. When she finally quieted, he tilted her face up. I'm keeping you both. This isn't negotiable. Everything with you is a command. Yes, no apology. Get used to it. 3 days later, Amara was reviewing security footage with Soo Min, who'd recovered quickly from her shoulder wound. Her mother had been moved to a luxury hotel under guard, and Min Ho was coordinating the hunt for Choi Tae-yoon. You love him, Soo Min said casually, not looking up from the laptop. Amara froze. Don't lie. I can see it every time you look at him. Soo Min glanced over. And he's completely obsessed with you. I've never seen my brother like this. He'd burn down Seoul for you. That's not healthy. No, but it's real. Soo Min's expression softened. Our father was a monster. Our mother killed herself when Min Ho was 12. We grew up in hell. My brother learned to survive by being harder, colder, more ruthless than everyone else. Until you. Amara's chest tightened. I didn't ask to change him. No one asks for love. It just happens. Soo Min closed the laptop. But you need to know, Tae-yoon won't stop. He's been trying to destroy my brother for 5 years, and now that he knows about you and the baby, he'll use it. Before Amara could respond, Min Ho burst into the room, his face a mask of controlled fury. We have a problem. He pulled up a file on his phone, showed them documents, legal papers, DNA results, genealogy reports. Tae-yoon had these delivered this morning. Min Ho's voice was tight. He's your cousin, Amara. The words made no sense. What? Your biological father, the one who gave you up for adoption, was Lee Dong-woo. He was Tae-yoon's uncle. Both men were part of the original crime syndicate that controlled Seoul before I took over. Amara's world tilted. That's impossible. My adoption was sealed. Min Ho's father unsealed it years ago, Soo Min said quietly. He tracked bloodlines obsessively, paranoid about rival families. He knew exactly who you were when Min Ho became interested in you. Did you know? Amara turned to Min Ho, betrayal sharp in her chest. When you orchestrated bringing me here, did you know we were connected? His silence was answer enough. Get out, she whispered. Get out. Amara, you knew my biological father was part of the world that destroyed your family, and you still brought me here, still manipulated me, still... Her hand went to her stomach. Was the baby part of your plan too? Some kind of revenge? His face went white. No, never. The baby is... I said, get out! She was screaming now, all the fear and confusion exploding into rage. Min Ho looked at his sister, who nodded subtly. He left without another word, and Amara collapsed onto the couch, sobbing. She left the warehouse that night while Min Ho was coordinating with his team. Soo Min saw her go but didn't stop her, a silent gift between women who understood sometimes you needed space to breathe. Amara checked into a small hotel in Hongdae using cash, no credit cards to trace. She needed time to think, to process the revelation that she was part of the crime dynasty Min Ho had destroyed, that her biological father had probably killed people, hurt people, built in the foundation of suffering Minho, now controlled. She was staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Amara Wells. We need to talk about your future and my brother's death. Choi Tae-yoon. Ice flooded her veins. She should delete it, should run. Instead, she typed back. Where? The response was immediate. Lotus Hotel, Presidential Suite, come alone. I promise your safety. She knew it was a trap. Knew Minho would lose his mind if he found out. But Tae-yoon had answers. About her father, about the blood ties that connected them, about the war that had consumed her life. She went. The Lotus Hotel was where this had all started, with the charity auction and her first meeting with Minho. Full circle, she thought bitterly as she rode the elevator to the top floor. Tae-yoon waited in the suite's living room, devastatingly handsome in an expensive suit, drinking whiskey. He was younger than she'd expected, maybe 35, with Minho's same dangerous charisma, but colder, more calculating. Amara Wells, he said in perfect English. You're even more beautiful in person. I can see why my brother became obsessed. He's not your brother, half-brother. Same father, different mothers, though father preferred Minho's mother, which is why I was raised by relatives while he got to the empire. Tae-yoon gestured to a chair. Sit, we have much to discuss. She remained standing. What do you want? To offer you a choice. He pulled out more documents. Your biological father, Lee Dong-woo, was my uncle. When Minho took over Seoul, he killed everyone in the Lee family to prevent retaliation. Everyone except you because you were hidden away in adoption. I had nothing to do with that world. But you're part of it now, carrying Minho's child, tied to him by blood and love. Tae-yoon's smile was sharp. I'm offering you protection. Join me, help me reclaim what Minho stole, and I'll ensure you and your baby are safe. Stay with him, and you'll all die when I destroy his empire. You're insane if you think I'd... The suite door burst open. Minho stormed in, gun drawn, eyes wild with fury and fear. 6 of his men followed, surrounding Tae-yoon. Step away from her, Minho commanded, his voice lethal. Tae-yoon laughed. She came willingly, brother. Ask her yourself. Minho's gaze cut to Amara. Pain and betrayal stark in his eyes. You left me to meet with him. I needed answers, she said quietly. About my father, about who I really am. I would have given you answers. Would you? Or would you have fed me more lies? The hurt on his face was devastating. Before he could respond, Tae-yoon moved fast, grabbed Amara, pressed a gun to her temple. Drop your weapons, Tae-yoon ordered, or I paint the walls with her blood. Minho's team raised their guns, but Minho held up a hand. Don't. Stand down. Minho, no, Amara started. I said stand down. He set his gun on the floor. Let her go, Tae-yoon. Take me instead. Always the hero. Tae-yoon's breath was hot against Amara's ear. But I don't want you dead yet. I want you suffering, knowing I have the woman you love and the child you'll never meet. He pulled a syringe from his pocket, jabbed it into Amara's neck before anyone could react. The world went grey, then black. The last thing she heard was Minho screaming her name. She woke in a medical facility. Sterile white walls, the beep of monitors. Her hands were restrained. Panic flooded her system as she struggled against the bonds. A doctor appeared, middle-aged, nervous. Please don't struggle, Ms. Wells. You'll hurt yourself. Where am I? Where's... She remembered the baby, terror spiking. The pregnancy is fine. Mr. Choi insisted we monitor you carefully. The doctor checked her IV. You're in his private medical facility. He'll be here soon. Tae-yoon entered moments later, impeccably dressed. Awake. Good. We need to discuss your value. If you hurt my baby, I have no intention of hurting the child. He pulled up a chair. In fact, That baby is my insurance policy. Minho's heir gives me ultimate leverage. He'll do anything I ask to keep you both safe. Amara's mind raced, looking for angles. You said we were family, cousins. We are, which makes this complicated. He leaned forward. I don't want to hurt you, Amara. I want to use you. There's a difference. You're still a monster. Perhaps, but I'm a monster with a purpose. His phone buzzed. He checked it, smiled. Your lover is tearing Seoul apart looking for you. He's already destroyed 3 of my businesses, killed 15 of my men, all in the last 6 hours. Despite her fear, pride swelled in her chest. Minho was coming. Meanwhile, across the city, Minho stood in the smoking ruins of Taeyun's shipping warehouse, covered in blood and ash. Soo-min worked a laptop nearby, tracking digital footprints. I've got something, she called out. Medical supply orders, large quantities of prenatal vitamins, obstetric equipment, delivered to an address in Gangnam. Minho was moving before she finished the sentence. Assemble, everyone. We hit it in 20 minutes. Morrison appeared from the shadows. He'd surfaced after the kidnapping, genuinely trying to help. Kang, wait. It could be a trap. I don't care. Minho's voice was dead calm, which was more terrifying than rage. If she's there, I'm getting her back. If it's a trap, I'll kill everyone involved and burn the building to the ground. Morrison hesitated, then said quietly, She's my daughter. Everyone froze. What? Soo-min breathed. Morrison's face crumbled with old pain. Lee Dong-woo wasn't her biological father. I was. I had an affair with his wife. When Amara was born, he knew she wasn't his. He was going to kill her. I gave her up for adoption to save her life, then spent 20 years working my way into positions where I could protect her from the shadows. Minho processed this, his analytical mind working. That's why you sent her to me. You knew I'd become obsessed, knew I'd protect her. Yes, Morrison met his gaze. I've made mistakes. Worked for you, betrayed my agency, manipulated my own daughter, but everything I did was to keep her alive. And now she's in Taeyun's hands because I failed. We get her back, Minho said flatly. Together, then you can explain everything to her. After I marry her, Morrison's eyes widened. You're that certain she'll say yes? She's carrying my child. She loves me. She'll say yes. No doubt, in his voice. Now, let's go get her. The raid on Taeyun's medical facility was swift and brutal. Minho's team breached the building from 3 entry points simultaneously. Gunfire erupted, but Minho moved through it like a force of nature, unstoppable in his mission. He found her on the 3rd floor, still restrained to a hospital bed. The moment their eyes met, something in his chest unlocked. Minho! Her voice broke. He was across the room in seconds, cutting her restraints with a knife, pulling her into his arms. I've got you. I've got you. Taeyun is dead. Morrison appeared in the doorway, gun still smoking. I shot him in the hallway, for Amara, for what he did to her. Amara stared at Morrison, confusion warring with recognition. There was something in his eyes, something familiar. Minho helped her stand. We need to leave, now. This place is wired to... The explosion rocked the building, Taeyun's final trap. The floor buckled, and they ran for the exits as fire bloomed behind them. They made it out with seconds to spare, tumbling onto the street as the building collapsed in a roar of flame and smoke. Minho covered Amara's body with his own, protecting her from debris. In the aftermath, as sirens wailed and his team secured the perimeter, Minho cupped her face, checked her for injuries. The baby is fine. She grabbed his hands. We're both fine. Relief crashed through him so powerfully his knees nearly buckled. He kissed her, desperate and thorough, uncaring of the audience. When they finally broke apart, Morrison approached hesitantly. Amara, I need to tell you something. Minho's arm tightened around her waist. She deserves the truth. Morrison's eyes glistened. I'm your father. Your biological father. I've been watching over you since the day you were born, and I'm sorry for every lie, every manipulation, every moment I couldn't be there for you. Amara processed this, the pieces clicking into place. His overprotectiveness, his strange investment in her career, the sadness in his eyes every time they'd met. How long have you known? Always. His voice broke. And I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but I'm dying. Cancer, stage 4. And I wanted you to know that everything I did because I love you. She looked at Minho, who nodded slightly. Then she stepped forward and hugged Morrison. I don't understand everything yet, but thank you for keeping me alive, for giving me a chance. Morrison held her like she was made of glass, tears streaming down his weathered face. 2 days later, Amara woke in Minho's newly secured penthouse, a different building, better security. Morning sickness hit immediately, and she barely made it to the bathroom. Minho was there rubbing her back. When she'd finished, he carried her back to bed, despite her protests. I can walk. Humour me. He tucked her in, disappeared into the kitchen, returned with ginger, tea and crackers. Dr. Park said these might help. She sipped the tea, studying his face. We need to talk. I know. He sat on the edge of the bed. About the lies. About your connection to the Lee family. About everything I kept from you. You knew from the beginning that my biological father was part of the world you destroyed. Yes, no denial. And I pursued you anyway because I saw you, Amara, not your bloodline, not your past. You, the woman who looked at me without fear, who challenged me, who made me feel human for the first time in years. That doesn't excuse the manipulation. No, it doesn't. He took her hand. I can't promise I'll always make the right choice. I can't promise my world won't touch you. But I can promise I'll protect you and our child with everything I am. I'll love you until my last breath, and I'll spend every day earning your trust. She wanted to stay angry, wanted to hold on to the betrayal, but looking at him, this dangerous, damaged man who'd gone to war for her, she couldn't. I love you, she said quietly, even though you're impossible and controlling and too used to getting your way. His smile was devastatingly beautiful. Does that mean you'll marry me? You haven't asked properly. He slid off the bed, got down on one knee, pulled out a ring box that made her breath catch. The diamond was enormous, elegant, perfect. Amara Wells, you walked into my life to destroy me, and instead you saved me. You carry my child, you hold my heart, and I can't imagine a future without you in it. Marry me, not because of the baby, not because of the danger. Marry me because we're meant to collide again and again until the end of time. Tears streamed down her face. That was actually romantic. I didn't know you had it in you. Is that a yes? Yes, you impossible man. Yes. He slipped the ring on her finger, then kissed her with such tenderness it broke something open in her chest. When he climbed into bed beside her, pulling her against his chest, she felt something she hadn't felt in months. Safe. Morrison died 3 weeks later, peacefully, with Amara holding his hand. He'd walked her through his life story in those final weeks, his love affair with her mother, the danger of the criminal world, his choice to give her up. She'd forgiven him, and he'd died with a smile. At the funeral, Minho stood beside her, solid and steady, as she said goodbye to a father she'd only just found. He loved you, Minho said quietly, as they left the cemetery. Everything he did was for you. I know, she leaned against him, and now it's just us, and our family. He placed his hand over her stomach, which was just starting to show. Speaking of which, Dr. Park called. She has news. At the doctor's office, they sat together, Minho's hand gripping hers almost painfully as Dr. Park reviewed the ultrasound results. Everything looks healthy, Dr. Park said with a smile. And I have good news. You're having twins, 2 girls. Minho went absolutely still. Twins? Amara laughed through tears. Of course, nothing about us is simple. He pulled her into his arms, his voice rough with emotion. 2 daughters. We're having 2 daughters. Are you okay with that? I'm terrified. He pulled back to look at her. I'm going to be that dad who threatens every boy, who looks at them, who teaches them to fight before they can walk, who... She kissed him quiet. You're going to be an amazing father. The wedding was small, held in a private garden with only close friends and family. Soo-min was maid of honor. Amara's mother cried through the entire ceremony, and Minho looked at his bride like she'd hung the stars. When the officiant asked if he took Amara as his wife, Minho's voice was steady and sure. I do, for every lifetime. And when Amara said her vows, promising to love him through darkness and light, he had to blink away tears. Their first dance was to a slow song, his hands protective on her waist, where their daughters grew. I love you, he murmured against her ear. I know, she smiled up at him. And I love you, my impossible, obsessive, wonderful husband. That night, in their honeymoon suite, he undressed her slowly, reverently, his hands worshipping every new curve of her changing body. Spread it wider, he whispered as he settled between her thighs. Let me see all of you, my wife, the mother of my children, everything that's mine. She obeyed, trembling as he made love to her with aching tenderness. Minho, I've got you. He moved slowly, carefully, acutely aware of the precious life she carried, always, forever. When they came together, it was with tears and whispered promises. 2 souls that had collided in violence and found peace in each other. 6 months later, Amara went into labour 3 weeks early. Minho was in a business meeting when he got the call, and he literally ran out of the boardroom, leaving stunned executives behind. He made it to the hospital in record time, burst into the delivery room to find Amara already in active labour, sweat-soaked and furious. You did this to me, she yelled as another contraction hit. I know, I'm sorry, I love you. He was babbling, holding her hand as she crushed his fingers. The delivery was complicated. The first baby came quickly, a tiny, perfect daughter with a shock of dark hair. But the second baby's heartbeat started dropping. Doctors rushed in, and suddenly everything was chaos. We need to do an emergency C-section, the doctor said. Mr. Kang, you need to leave. No, Amara's voice cut through the panic. He stays. So Minho stayed, terrified and awed as they performed the surgery. When they pulled out the second baby, tinier, struggling to breathe, his heart stopped. She's not crying, he said. Why isn't she? Then a thin wail pierced the air. The baby's lungs inflated, and she screamed her arrival into the world. Both healthy, the doctor announced. Congratulations. Minho looked at Amara, who was crying and laughing simultaneously. We did it. You did it. He kissed her forehead. You're incredible. Recovery was hard. Amara struggled with postpartum pain, the C-section healing slowly. Minho became an unexpectedly devoted father, changing diapers at 3 a.m., walking the hallways with crying babies, learning to function on no sleep. Soo-min visited often, teaching him how to properly support a baby's head while Amara rested. You're surprisingly good at this, she observed. They're mine to protect, he said simply, cradling his daughters. I'd burn the world for them, just like you did for their mother, he smiled. Exactly like that. 3 months after the twins' birth, Amara stood in the nursery, watching Minho rock both babies to sleep. He was singing softly in Korean, a lullaby she didn't understand, but that made her heart ache with love. What are you singing? She asked quietly. Something my mother used to sing before she died. Himfe looked up, his expression soft in the dim light. I want them to know they're loved, every moment of their lives. She crossed to him, wrapped her arms around all three of them. They will, because they have you. Later, after the babies were asleep, Minho pulled Amara into their bedroom. I have something for you. He handed her a folder. Inside were legal documents, transfer papers for his entire criminal empire. What is this? I'm out, he said quietly. I've spent the last 6 months transferring all illegal operations to trusted associates who will phase them out. Everything I own now is legitimate. I'm done with that life. Minho, I want our daughters to have a father they can be proud of. I want you to have a husband who doesn't come home covered in blood. He cupped her face. I choose this. I choose us over everything. She kissed him, pouring all her love and gratitude into it. When they made love that night, it was different, softer, but no less intense. He whispered her name like a prayer as he moved inside her. Spread it wider, he breathed, and she laughed against his mouth. I'm already yours, completely. I know, and I'm never letting go. 1 year after the wedding, Amara stood in the renovated penthouse, now a family home filled with baby toys and laughter. Minho had transformed his empire into legitimate businesses: hotels, tech companies, real estate. He still had the same commanding presence, but now he used it in boardrooms instead of underground fights. The twins, Mina and Sora, were crawling everywhere, terrorizing their doting aunt Soo Min. Amara's mother visited weekly, delighted with her granddaughters. Minho came up behind Amara, wrapped his arms around her waist. What are you thinking about? How impossible this all seemed a year ago. How I came here to destroy you. And instead, you destroyed me in the best possible way. She turned in his arms and rebuilt me into something stronger. He kissed her, slow and deep. We rebuilt each other. That night, after the babies were asleep and the house was quiet, they made love in their bed, the same bed where they'd first collided. His hands knew every inch of her body now, every scar, every sensitive spot. I love you, he murmured against her skin as pleasure built between them. Every impossible, beautiful part of you. I love you too, she gasped. My monster, my saviour, my husband. When they came together, it was with the certainty of forever, two souls that had found each other in darkness and built a life in the light. 2 years later, Amara stood in the backyard of their new home in Jeju Island, watching Minho teach their 3-year-old daughters basic self-defense moves. They giggled as he showed them how to break a hold, his patience endless. Appa is being silly, Mina declared. Appa is teaching you to be strong, Minho corrected, kissing her forehead. So no one can ever hurt you. Soo Min appeared with Lemonade, her own daughter, 6 months old, on her hip. Your brother is going to turn them into tiny warriors. Good, Amara said. They'll need to be strong. They're half him, after all. Later, after the girls were in bed, Minho and Amara sat on their terrace, watching the sunset over the ocean. He pulled her onto his lap, his hand resting on her stomach where their third child, a boy this time, was growing. Are you happy? He asked quietly. Deliriously. She leaned back against his chest. Are you? More than I ever thought possible. He kissed her temple. You gave me everything, Amara. A family, a purpose, a reason to be better. We gave it to each other. They sat in comfortable silence as stars appeared overhead. Two former enemies who'd become lovers, partners, parents. Their past was violence and lies, but their future was love and light. And when Minho whispered, "Spread it wider. Let me see all of you," she knew he didn't mean her body. He meant her heart, her soul, every dream and fear. She gave him everything, just as he'd given her everything. And that was how love conquered the darkness, one impossible moment at a time. The end. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more Afro-Korean romance content. Drop a comment telling me where you are watching from.